So now let's move on to selecting data in Panda. So the first thing we have to do is import Pandas. Let's run that. And let's import our data. So I'm going to call our variable countries. pd.read underscore CSV. And the name of our file is top 10 countries.csv. Misspelled countries. Let's call out our countries variable. And you see we put our CSV inside our countries variable. So now let's go ahead and select one column. So let's say I want to select the region column. I'm going to go countries and then brackets and then colon. I'm going to put in the region column. And now let's run that. And you see we get our column. Another way we could do this is putting a period and then our column. Let's run that. And you see we get the same thing. The only thing about using this method is that we can't do columns that have names with space in between them like this. For ones like this, let me just show you. We'll get an error. For columns like this, we need to surround it with brackets and in single or double quotes. Oh, I need to remove this period. And let's run that. And you see we got our column. Let's copy this. And look at the type. And you see that it is a series. A single column is a series. And a data frame is a collection of series. So now let's move on to selecting multiple columns. So let's call in our data frame countries, and inside of two block brackets we can put in a list of our columns. So region, country, let me just paste let me see what other columns. Let me just get the date. I need another block bracket here, and let's run that. And you see we get multiple columns. We can also select rows by the index position using the iloc function. So countries dot iloc, and in the block bracket we put the index position. So let's say we want 4. And let's run that. And you see we get the 4th index. We can also slice. But first let me just call in our data frame. So let's say I want to slice from the 5th index down. I'll simply put 5 colon and leave the other side blank. And let's run that. And you see we got from the 5th index down. We can get from the 5th to the 8th. Oh, the reason why we don't get 8 is because the stop argument is exclusive. So if we wanted 8, we would have to put 9. We can also index rows and columns. So countries.iloc 6 2. And you see it's Africa because it's in the 6th index, 0, 1, 2. It's in the 2nd index. Let me just remove this so we can see our data frame. And we can slice rows and column. So let's say I want from the 2nd index, and I want columns 0 from 1 to 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's run that. And you see we get from the second index down, and we get from column 1, 2, 3. And we know the 3 is exclusive. The loc function requires labels and names. So let's say countries.loc. We can't put index positions, but we have to put the names. So I'm gonna say I want from index 3 to 6. So it's gonna bring 3 to 5. So 3 to 6. And then I only want the region column. So let's put the region. Now let's also put the population. Comma. And now let's run that. So the loc function requires label names. It doesn't accept index positions. So now let's move on to conditional selection. Let's call in our countries data frame. And let's say I only want to return the rows where the region is Asia. So I would call in my variable, and in between block brackets, I'll call out our countries, our region column, and then I'll set that equals to Asia. And let's run that. And you see we only got the rows where the region is Asia. We can also do Africa. Let's run that. And you see we get one row because Africa is the only region in this table. We can combine multiple conditions using the AND and the OR operator. So let's do that. So I'm gonna create countries and then block brackets. And I'm gonna take this. Then I'm gonna put the AND sign. And then I'm gonna say I want where the countries column population is more than a certain amount. So I'm gonna write countries population is greater than, let me say 300 million. And first we need to surround the two statements with brackets. This one is already surrounded with brackets. And now let's run that. Let's see what's wrong. Oh, the P is capitalized because in our column here, it's a capital P and I put a lowercase. So let's run that. So Africa's population is not more than whatever we're asking for here. So let me put Asia. Let's run that. And you see we bring up the rows that satisfies our conditions. If we wanted to use the OR instead of the AND, we use this. And let's run that. And then you see it brings us the values where the region is Asia or the population is over 300 million. We can add additional filters, like if we only want certain columns. At the end of here, we open two block brackets. The one inside is our list, and we'll put a list of our columns. And let's say I want the rank country/dependency, but I'm gonna copy this. Control C, in between quotes. And now let's run that. And you see we get the columns that we asked for. We can also select rows that match a list of values. So let me call our countries variable. And let's say I want to bring the rows where the region is Asia and Americas. Let's call it our data frame, and in between brackets, We call out our region column. And then we're gonna use the isIn method. And it will take the list of the rows of Asia and Americas. So create this list, Asia, Americas. And let's run that. Oh, we need to capitalize because Americas is with a capital A, Asia is with a capital A. And let's run that. And you see we brought the rows where the region is only Asia and Americas. Some few other things. Let's call out our data frame. And let's say we only wanted to bring the top 5 rows. We would write countries dot head in brackets. And let's run that. And it brings us the top 5 rows. Let's say we only want 2 rows. We would put it here. And then let's run that. If we wanted to bring the last 5 rows in our data frame, we write countries dot tail, put in brackets, the default is 5, the last 5. And you see here it brings in the last 5. Let's say if we want the last 3, it brings the last 3 rows in our data frame.